The hills are alive in Salzburger land. Welcome to Zell See-Kaprun 70.3 and the 14th stop at the Ironman Pro Series. This is the last race before we enter World Championship season. Nestled between the pristine Lake Zell and the soaring peaks of the Austrian Alps, this is known as one of the most spectacularly scenic, albeit challenging, courses here on the 70.3 circuit. I'm Dee Griesbauer, joined in studio by Matt Lieto and Daniela Reif. Matt, welcome to Austria.
It's look at it. It's beautiful, Dee, and it's crunch time here in the 2025 Ironman Pro Series with Ironman 70.3 Zell See-Kaprun. It's the first 14th stop in the series and last regular season race of the year. Yeah, I think it's interesting. You see the athletes, closer to the camera, giving themselves room because they're like, well, we'll let these guys start swimming in front of me and I'm just going to get on the feet. And that's a mistake a lot of athletes make, is they just get right up on the line and they end up battling when they could just jump on the feet straight away.
Absolutely. And they have the benefit of the ramp there, that swim ramp. They get a little bit of a better start as the men are underway here at Ironman 70.3 Zell See-Kaprun. And look at that frothy water.
It is frothing for sure, and no doubt it's going to be a bit of chaos here till they get to that buoy. And it's a while out to the buoy, so it's nice that they're not having a turn right away, especially with this quality of field. It will kind of spread out before they hit that, but there's still going to be a lot of fighting, and man, it's a large field here on the men's side today, Dee.
And it looks like the bigger pack there is on the inside line. Again, it's one of those things, if you're not the strongest swimmer and you look at the start list, you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Party at the front. I do see the green cap up at the front there.
Could be Horsfall Turner.
Yep.
That would be my guess. Certainly, and when Kat Matthews watches this, she's going to be like, guys, soon you're going to be talking about me as a pre-race swim favorite. She's been working on that swim a lot. We saw her out with the front group at the World Championships last year in Nice, and she's been working on that and showing her success.
Absolutely, and the wetsuit will definitely help her in that regard. I mean, again, we all remember back to that horrible crash that Kat had prior to the World Championship several years ago. She still struggles with some neck issues. It flares a little bit. She said she's been having some neck issues following Hamburg that really plagued her swim a little bit at Swansea, but she said she's feeling good. She's actually been training with Steph Clutterbuck, so she's had some good feet to chase in training during this last training camp in preparation for this race. So we'll see if Kat can get herself attached to that fast swim group at the front.
Yeah, and Daniela, tell us a bit. To me, I'm always surprised because I even forget sometimes that Kat went through that horrendous crash and recovery, near paralyzed, and because she's showing that she is one of the best in the world. Tell us about how incredible that comeback is to be at the very top.
Yeah, what Kat did is absolutely amazing. I think she's definitely has one of these fighter spirits, and how she got back that fast. About a year after her crash, she was already racing again. And now being at the top of the world, doing 2 Ironmans in close to world record time, fighting with Laura Phillips. So she's definitely in the form of her life, I think. This year she's showed really strong performances, and I think it shows how strong she is mentally as well. And she's, I think the training with Steph Clutterbuck will help her because she's also an emotional racer. So if she has someone to believe in and knowing that she's trained with someone faster than her in the swim, I think this will help her emotionally to be able to believe in herself that she can also get to the front pack. And we'll see today, even if she doesn't, she still has the bike to back it up and maybe catch some of the girls on the bike.
Yeah, and we've seen she has the ability both obviously going up the hills and then technically down the hills. She showed it in Nice, so we expect nothing less from her today. And, we talk about her being here for the points and getting that backup, but clearly Kat is here for nothing else than the win.
I mean, absolutely. You can see all of the athletes as they round the buoy there, taking a peek into the armpit over the shoulder there to see. And I think Jan Schauffele will be pretty pleased at how he's strung this field out a little bit. Of course, now rounding the buoy, you can see that larger pack. That's where the physicality is, where the guys are sort of battling each other, particularly at this stage of the course where you get bunched up going around those buoys.
Yeah, no, it's certainly great points there, Didi. And you can see here, Schaeffler goes on his back to see what's going on, get a little bit more information. And we saw there that there was that little gap after third, and it was actually another athlete moved around the outside to try to bring that gap back. Because that athlete that was in fourth place was letting it open. And you don't often see swimmers with that ability to know what's happening in front of them. It's hard to be able to see. Obviously, your eyes are just over the water, in the water, but to have the awareness to go around there, so then that's brought the group together. And it looks like there's only a break, Didi, in the group, maybe 25 athletes back. It's a very, very large group. I do think it's going to split up a little bit more on the way back.
It could very well. I mean, although those two turn buoys definitely were the opportunity for the front of the race to put in a surge as that sort of bunchier group went around. And you can see those two buoys did sort of thin out the wider bunch at the back, and they are starting to single out now as well. But it's really hard to differentiate. I mean, to your point, 25 guys from first to last, just head to toe.
Do you feel like that tactic, to me, that stands out from Schaeffler as a little strange, that going around as a lead athlete trying to string it out, if you go around turn buoys, that's where you want to put accelerations and not go on your back to see what's going on.
Yeah, I think that tactic was more of a, hey, I know the caliber of swimmer in this race. I don't want to be the sucker on the front of doing all the work at the front, knowing there's other guys that could pull that load, and he did his job through halfway and just thought, hey guys, but in fairness couldn't necessarily see what was going on behind him and know that strategically that might have been a no-no, that it allowed sort of the group to bunch back up rather than putting in an acceleration would have been the better cue there.
Yeah, it looks like we've had an athlete go around Beck Clark there.
Lena Meissner.
Yeah, so that's Meissner in first place there with Beck Clark in second place in the swim, and Perger, last time we saw it, yep, there she is in third, actually just getting overtaken there by Daisy Davies. And then we've got that yellow cap, possibly of Pratt. Are you seeing? There's two yellow.
I'm gonna bet that's Pratt as opposed to Solveig Lovseth. Like a strong swimmer, she's a good all-around athlete, but if she's got a weakness, it's the swim. So she's probably going to give up a little bit of time to some of these women in the swim. So my guess would be that that's Pratt in the yellow cap there. By observation, Daniela, we are 21 minutes into the men's race and 16 minutes into the women's race. Any surprises to you at the front of the race, both for men and women, either athletes who are outshining or athletes you're surprised not to see amongst the mix?
Yeah, I think pretty much the men is to the what to expect. We have a fairly big group, maybe not as big as I thought it would be, so we can still see that there is quite a big difference now between the two groups, and the second group is definitely working hard to get that gap back. On the women's, I think we have the three strong swimmers like Percher, Davies and Clark, which are pushing the pace, and they definitely need to push the pace because they will have Kat Matthews and Solveig Lovseth pushing on the bike, so that's their chance to really make a move and trying to get some seconds in front of the two strong riders. So we see that their first men are just coming to the land. Most likely they will maybe quickly look back on where the others are. That's something, so far they don't know what happened. They don't know who's maybe in the pack. And very fast they will see who's around them, and then they will start thinking already on the bike.
Yeah, and I think people underestimate that, Daniela, that during the swim you have no idea who is really around you. With these cap colors, and obviously the athletes will know the athletes right next to them, but don't know what the dynamic is, right? Because the last time Schaeffler looked, there was a group totally together, and then it blew up halfway through. So great observation there, and it does look like we had Schaeffler first out with Kraft and Sarzilla and Osterholt and Preister in the top five, but a large group, Dee.
Oh, yeah, really large group. I mean, then they're going to come basically ones and twos all the way out. I mean, we're through 14 athletes, and that gap is 20 seconds from first to 14th. Then there's a gap to the second chase pack. Max Spurl amongst those chasers, but 14 guys in that lead pack, all within 20 seconds coming out of Lake Zell.
Yeah, and Jonas Hoffman also was a little bit back in there too, and Nick Thompson was there, but just about 20 seconds behind as we see, I believe this is Costas. No, that is not Costas.
No,
sorry.
that's
Priester.
Sorry. That's Priester.
I think. Yeah. A funny thing he said on the previews of the videos, he said the bike is going to be tough, but he's going to wait for the run. So he's a fantastic runner. So he's in the perfect position for him now. He can ride with the front group, and if he can hold the pace of the front group, he's definitely going to be a big contender for the win.
Right now, these athletes so focused on the task at hand. I don't see a lot of them looking around to see who's in that lead group. At this point, it's almost irrelevant.
And our Wahoo Element rival male pro first out of the water is Yannick Schaffler, 23:06. That's moving, Didi.
Yeah, it's pretty quick. Although in a wetsuit swim in a...
Oh, you expected more.
I did expect a little bit more. I'm going to be honest. I'm a wee bit disappointed.
Oh boy.
I have high standards.
You guys did a good job, I think.
I think that also currents can make a big difference, especially in the swim. The water looked very flat, so it looked like there were perfect conditions, but you don't know what was going on under the water.
No, definitely not. But we see our athletes cruising out, bikes in hand, rolling through our transition area and getting out there. It doesn't look like we've had too much. Looks like the group is still mostly together. No big gaps have formed kind of in that transition area. Still athletes in there.
Yeah, athletes continuing to stream out as we come running through not only a long run to your gear bag, but a long run once you get that bike all the way to the mount line. Obviously, athletes not allowed to get on their bikes until they cross that orange mount line you saw there. That was a failed flying mount there by whatever bib number that is, 35. Just got his leg caught on there a little bit, but it's the little errors like that that can cost you from making that pack.
What's impactful, I think, on this race is, from what I can tell, I believe Kat Matthews and Solveig Losev have made this front group. So to me, that's a little surprising considering the horsepower. But again, those two athletes would probably disagree with me because they've obviously been putting the work in.
Oh, they put in the work in, and I think I'm actually more surprised to see Solveig Losev in here versus Kat Matthews. I think we saw Kat with some good swims, particularly in the wetsuit. So I think where Kat has struggled has been non-wetsuit swims, but definitely this is a game changer for her. For Kat and Solveig, they're not going to have any work whatsoever coming out of the water. They are in that lead group as we take a look at our women's leaders out of the Roca swim course. It was Beck Clark first on ground. We take a look at the Wahoo Element Rival swim split for Beck Clark at 25:11 for the 1.9 kilometer swim. Lena Meissner in second, Daisy Davies in third, Lisa Percher was fourth. We had Pratt in fifth, Kat Matthews in seventh, right in that group. Nina Darren, Steph Clutterbuck at the back of that group, and Solveig Losev in 10th. So 10 women out together, all within 15 seconds. It's a larger lead swim pack than I had thought, and the fact that Solveig and Kat are in there is definitely our first sort of key notable for the day.
Yeah, Daniela, considering those two are in there, obviously that's a big swim effort, but alarm bells to those other athletes that were hoping for that time I was talking about. The train is ahead of you now. Oops.
Yeah, it definitely changes the whole tactic. I think for Kat and Solveig, they now know, okay, now we can make the race. They're going to definitely start pushing the bike. And also, I think what's special on this bike course is that it's a one loop course, and it's very hard to give the splits. So if you know from the start where you're at, then it's really helpful. And then you can also maybe see a little bit in the first 5K on how the others ride, and therefore you know if you're moving faster or not.
And, as someone obviously was very much at the top of the sport and won a lot of these races and on this course of World Championship, is it also for someone, obviously you have a lot of confidence, but when you had a breakthrough swim and were in a group above maybe what others expected you to and maybe what you were shooting for, did that still give you more confidence in those next two disciplines?
Yes, definitely. I think it's about that little boost you get for confidence, and I think especially Kat is very much if she's in a good space, she can race really, really well, and I kind of transform that energy into power. And I think for her, it definitely shows that she improved her swim again. For her, it's like the perfect start, and it's same for Solveig. I think that she's up there already with Kat. I definitely think Kat would have probably wanted to have a little bit of a lead to Solveig for the start of the bike. And they're both, I would say, they belong to the strongest cyclists in the sport. And now they're going to have a bit of a battle out there. And I think it's definitely a very fair race. There's a lot of climbing, and so you can't hide on that course.
If you had to seed one over the other in terms of bike strength, Solveig versus Kat, can you pick one, or are they really, really evenly matched out there?
I listened a little bit to the interviews, and from what Solveig said on that she likes to have flat courses and she feels she's stronger. I feel like she's maybe having a little bit of a doubt there, but I think she's a good enough athlete that she actually, when she sees she's having a chance, she will then also take her chance. And so it's hard to say. I think Kat also showed very good races over like rolling hills and also in the flats. They're both definitely, there's a little fall. But they're both very strong athletes over rolling hills. This course is very different because it's really steep, and we're going to find out today. It's hard for me to say.
Yeah, and I think that's, to me, it's almost funny that you say that Solveig had said that about her cycling ability, because for me, obviously, her race, when she was behind Kat and for third place earlier this year and almost a record time, that was very impressive. But for me, Lake Placid was even more impressive. Yeah. And that course is incredibly difficult. And she made it look like, if you looked at the results, you'd be like, oh, that's a pancake flat course. That's how fast she was. So for me, clearly she has the ability to ride well over a course with some significant climbs.
Yes, definitely. And let's not forget, she's quite new to the sport. She's also just transitioning from being from the Olympics, like the Olympic distance racing. And her debut this year at the Ironman in Hamburg was absolutely, out of this world. I could not have imagined to do 8:12 for an Ironman. But also in Venice, she proved that she's a really, really strong athlete over the 7.3 distance.
How unusual is it, Daniela, for an athlete to come from that short course draft legal racing? Often we see the transition where they will focus on the middle distance for a period of at least a year or two before attempting the Ironman. But Solveig just said, hey, you know what? I'm going all in on both. Did a 70.3 at the end of last year and straight to the Ironman in her first post-Olympic sort of block of racing. How unusual is that, and how unusual is it for an athlete to take to it the way that she has?
Yeah, it's definitely very surprising how fast she got used to handling the bike and just going strong over such a long distance. I think it's also quite strong that she made the move so fast. I think the men tend to be more brave to just try the long distance, where often the women have a few more years in the 70.3, and I think it's a good move for her. She's definitely, I see her as one of the favorites for Kona this year. For Kona this year, and that's why I think she can really show her full potential. And she's still really strong on the 7.3 distance, as she has the speed coming from the Olympics.
That is McDowell already up in the front.
I was going to say, McDowell being very aggressive up that climb. You could see the athletes behind sort of 5th, 6th, 7th starting to get strung out here in the very early, we'll call this the pre-climb for the men. Kevin McDowell he's had a great season moving up to the middle distance from the draft legal format. He is great story. He's a cancer survivor, Olympian, now moving up to middle distance. He's had a sort of a season that has built from Oceanside, where he was 18th at Oceanside, 30th at Oceanside, moving up the ranks to finish as high as 4th
at St.
George, and then 3rd at 70.3 Boulder. Also, his side hustle, he leads a visually impaired athlete, and so he's got a really, really full plate and is really starting to take to this middle distance.
Yeah, and he certainly is, and obviously, as you said, he is building on those results, and love to see it.
As we come back to our women's race, Kat Matthews has made her way to the front of the women's race, and looks just absolutely very, very comfortable, very in control. She gets some hydration and nutrition on board. Solveig Lovseth is, or GPS there on screen says she's 18 seconds back. I don't think they're quite that far spread out, but Kat Matthews aggressive here. No surprise there. And there, I believe.
That's Lovseth.
Yeah, there's Lovseth right on her wheel.
Yeah, so very, very tight there with Lovseth Davies. And I bet we're going to see Purder. Yep, right there as they take that little bend to that pre-climb you were talking about, Daniela.
Yeah, that's where it starts now. I'm surprised that they're still a group. So maybe, Kat is maybe not going like all out yet. I think it's easier to make a move. And here we have a move. This is Pertier, right? The Austrian local. She's definitely here to prove that she can be podium. She can do podiums on the 7.3. And she did train in Livigno in the hills for a few weeks.
And we've got a little mechanical here. Yeah, it looks like that's Daisy Davies. Dropped her chain there. It looks like that pitch up. She went to shift into her smaller ring there and dropped the chain. It looks like it might be wedged in there between the frame and the chain ring. She's having some trouble getting it back on.
If that is not what you want to be happening early in the bike ride. Certainly, we could see if she was going from the climb to expecting to go over this little roller and down left, so she did make some type of a shift there that allowed the chain to get caught. That's
really,
brutal.
really tough luck for Daisy Davies. She was biking really, really, really well in Swansea as well, where she got a puncture that took her out of contention there, so that's a rough thing to happen here. She's going to have her work cut out for her to get back up on that group.
We're back here with our women's leader, Kat Matthews. And again, just looking at her face and her expression, she is kind of in that flow state as she gets over the last section of this climb here. And definitely she sits down, takes a deep breath, but she's just kind of in that zone. And again, we could debate all day long whether or not having power on your bike is a good thing or not, but an athlete still has a choice whether or not they're going to look at it and be driven by it. And I think Kat is showing now that when you're going with feel, and maybe you can observe the power later in segments to help you benefit your pacing strategy. But when you're going with feel, you're getting the most out of your body in a way that it's going to be able to perform later. And then on the right side of the screen, we see Solveig Lovseth does not seem as quote-unquote flow state as Kat Matthews. Gearing looks a little bit different as well. Obviously, that's going to be more challenging on the steeper sections of this climb, but you can tell she looks a little bit more stiff. She's forcing the effort that she's trying to put out because she's chasing. She wants to be up there where Kat Matthews is riding her bike. It's definitely priced her in the front of the lead, or in the lead of the group at the moment, doing his thing and doing it well.
Yeah, absolutely. And when we start to sort of, and Daniela did it right before our little visit there with Priester, but talking about some of the caliber of run that is still in this lead group. Obviously, Lasse Priester, Fabian Kraft, another one of our great runners. So when we start to look ahead, Cameron Main also in touch with this group as well. So fireworks could start to crackle here as the men start to smell the end of this Zoot bike course and foreshadow ahead to the run course and some of our favorites once they get on 2 feet.
And this is Lisa Purder.
Yep.
So that was Lisa that had bridged up to Kat. And again, she's finding this course dynamic. And what is Kat going to say, Daniela, in her head or maybe out loud when Lisa Purder comes over and maybe passes her? And we are on live television, so monitor.
Yeah, I mean, she's not going to swear, I think. But it depends. I mean, she has the benefit that she has one of the strongest run. So even if she would start the bike with some time behind, she can still win this race. But I think what's more hard now is if you're pushing hard and then someone catches you. So for the ego, but also for the mental aspect, it can be a little bit shattering or maybe a bit demotivating or surprising. let's not forget that she did not know where Lisa was, because it's really hard to give timings in this loop, as the downhill, the supporters cannot go there. So she just pretty much was on her own, where Lisa, she would get the timing splits to Kat, because she was behind her. So that is actually much easier than to make up time. So I would not be surprised if they just work together, and then Kat is going to push it, to hammer down on the ramp.
It doesn't look like much is going to change here just in the last few kilometers. We know athletes are getting quite close to transition here as we see the top 5 come through, and it looks like this overhead shot shows that there's 6, 7, 8 still in this group, but a little bit of separation from 5th to 6th, and bunching up a little bit there behind. It looks like a pass there to go into 5th.
Funny, about
place.
30 plus seconds ago, we had a shot of an athlete taking his feet out of his shoes. I think that might have been a little premature, but here we are at the dismount line.
And
sometimes you want to get out early with the shoes, because then you can push the last part while the others going out of the shoes. So it's actually a tactic aspect that then you're already out of the shoes and can push again.
Yeah, there we saw Fabian Kraft off of the bike in first place, with Preister in second and McDowell in third just behind. And our Wahoo Element Bolt first off the bike, split Fabian Kraft, 2:06.33. That is crazy fast on this hard of a course.
Yeah, it is not a course best. Course best owned by Mika Newt from a year ago, I believe, at 2:02, which is pretty insane. But some incredible riding from our athletes here today.
Yeah, no, dynamics and race tactics and group will have a little bit to do with that, not taking anything away from Mika, because that was an incredible bike split, but race playing out a little bit differently here today with this pretty large group coming off the bike together. Nice overhead shot of this transition area as the athletes go and grab their run gear bags that are hanging there for them. Sometimes it can be a little stressful trying to find your bag, but it seems like everybody's getting theirs pretty quick.
So the group that started as about 12 has been pared down to 8, including Fabian Kraft, Lasse Priester, Kevin McDowell, Nick Thompson, Cameron Main, Gregor Payet, Simon Vivane, and Yannick Schaffler in our lead group here of 8 athletes.
Yeah, and it started, not to point out, but it started at 20 athletes early in the bike. So that shows that it was not only hard at the end and on the climb, but early. So it's definitely a lot of carnage from the pace that was being set on the bike ride, both early and late in this race. We see this great overhead shot of athletes on the track.
Athletes finding their stride through transition. Usually transitions is a place where athletes are not necessarily at full throttle, but these guys full throttle through transition. They haven't even started the run course yet.
Yeah, they're just taking it over. Easy.
Good transition from Fabian Kraft. He started to lead the run, where now I think we already saw a switch. I think that might be Lasse Priester leading at the moment. So very strong runners, both of them, and potentially the 2 who can go under 110.
So what kind of head games are these guys playing with each other in the opening kilometer of this run course?
I mean, in one way, you're a little bit busy with just dealing with yourself. You have to imagine these athletes just came off the bike. Maybe they don't really feel their feet because they've been pushing high watts. And so it's about just kind of finding your rhythm and also getting your body back to moving in a different sport, which can be a little bit of a challenge. But they seem pretty smooth, both of them running quite a fast pace already in this first 100 meters. And I think it's definitely also a mental aspect now, showing the others, hey, I'm not here to play, I'm here to win. And as we see, that's Fabian Kraft already really pushing the pace and just making that little move can already be a bit of a demonstration of, hey, I'm strong. Kat seemed to have done a little bit of a move. But they will be switching in transition almost together. And then, Kat looks back quickly to see where Lisa is. And now it's all about smooth transition, putting on shoes, and then I think her favorite part will start.
It's coming for sure. We see Lisa go underneath that banner there as well, and a 2:17.52 for the woman on screen, Kat Matthews, and she's still got a bit of a spring in her step too, so it looks like she was able to pace that properly. But we can see with the Wahoo Element Bolt first off the bike, split 2:17.52, Kat Matthews. We can see Lisa Perder just in the background still chasing, but amazing splits by those two women, and their time to this point of the course is quite fast. I mean, they're not very far behind our men's leaders in the scope of, generally we see bigger gaps between the two fields. These women are absolutely crushing.
Yeah, great riding. Now this grass will help to smoothen the feet a bit. That jump off on the concrete is often quite hard, and now she's getting her shoes, changing quickly, trying not to forget anything, and sits down a little bit. Seems to be something, I don't know.
Oh, that's a tracker. They're adjusting her tracker. Yeah, her tracker appears to be malfunctioning, so we've got some technical support there. Looks like swapping out that tracker so we can keep eyes on Kat Matthews. And just of note, unofficially, Kat split 2:17.52 would be a course best, surpassing Els Visser from 2024 at 2:21.19. So to your point that the women are not that far behind the men, it shows in that performance there with a course best for Kat Matthews.
And from Lisa as well, right? Just 8 seconds slower from those splits. So that's an incredible performance. And Lisa just keeps getting better. And it's, as you said, Daniela, the athletes have to push the boundaries to be able to see where they actually belong. And again, Lisa was quite close, even with the penalty to the win at Lake Placid. And right now she's hot on the heels of an athlete that's obviously been second at Ironman World Championship and second twice at the 70.3 Ironman World Championship. So proving to herself that she does belong at the very, very pointy end of the Ironman and Ironman 70.3 racing. Lots happening here at Ironman 70.3 Zell See-Kaprun. We've got
a quad box.
We got Kraft in the upper left. We've got looks like McDowell and Payette in the lower left. And then we know what's happening in the upper right. That's Kat Matthews running away from the field. Lower right, that is Lisa Perder doing her best to keep Kat within sight and then also keep as much gap as she can on the chasers behind, including Daron and Loset. But a lot happening out here. We see Kraft rolling through one of our well-stocked and volunteered aid stations on the upper left. Does what he needs to, gets a little bit in his mouth and a little bit on his shoulder. And Kat Matthews running through one of the beautiful downtown sections of the course. Oh yeah, he looks super, super composed. And again, in that 108 range at the moment as far as his pacing goes. Not too much, change of pace from the athletes behind. He's, holding his own, but the athletes behind, Nick Thompson moved up to 6th place, back from 8th, but Schaffler has dropped to 8th and Bien in 7th place, but it doesn't seem like there's any danger movers. We had like a theoretical question mark as to whether or not there was somebody in that group behind that would have the ability to move up into maybe the top 5. It doesn't look like that's the case. Definitely some quicker runners back there, but nobody having a groundbreaking run. But again, in the quad box, we see Kraft upper left and our chasers in the lower left. Those two athletes looking great as well. I'm so impressed by McDowell. Again, Didi, he was pushing that pace early on the bike, continues to do so on the run in second position, at one point really trying to force Payette through to take a pole, but he's back there as we see again in the upper right. Kat Matthews, again, probably one of our lapping male pros, but again, it's as you said, Daniela, it's great pacing. And I mean, he's a big dude too. You can get in that draft a little bit, kind of take a little pressure off yourself if you're running that same pace and not have to put the pressure on. But Lisa Perder, we've seen her, or I've seen her in other races when she's not running well. That that cadence and RPM slows, and that's certainly not the case now. She's still on the gas and being aggressive, and just got to split Daniela through that first 3K. And Loseth is 4:22 behind with Daron at 4:28, and actually it looks like Perger is run 16 seconds faster than Loseth through that first checkpoint. So again, Perger showing herself and us that she's continues to grow as an athlete. Every second matters, right? And then we know, as long as we don't know, but we would predict that Solveig is going to be on the podium of the Ironman Pro Series with where her standings are now and the points that she has left, as long as she stays healthy and no mechanical issues. So I think you're right. There will be a plan, but she is going to push to the finish, because you don't want to look back after Marbella and be like, oh man, I needed 10 more seconds at LMC. But we can see right now, it looks like Payet making a move on McDowell.
Yeah, I was going to say, this is the first time, Daniela, we've seen a little bit of daylight between Gregor Payet and Kevin McDowell. Anything you see form-wise that would indicate that, or is this just Gregor making his move?
Yeah, I mean, it seems like it's definitely he's going for it. I mean, McDowell had a great race so far. I think if he can finish third, that's quite good for him. And the fact that he's actually looking back and not forward shows that he's suffering. So he might just think, okay, this pace is too fast. I need to resettle, and you just look back again. So he probably doesn't know where the fourth place is, and also having Cameron Main most likely catching up. So he's actually only like 45 seconds back. That means he still has to focus forward and not look back too much.
Awesome, as we see this amazing overhead shot as he runs in, trying to get a few high fives from the crowd supporting him throughout this long day. Now he is on the red carpet, and here he is, last few meters, but your Ironman 70.3 Zell See-Kaprun champion, Fabian Kraft. He was the only one to try to stay with Kraft coming out of transition and onto the run. So he did what he could to try to win the race in every moment that he had that possibility. And given some big ups to those at home. But Gregor Pravet, fantastic result from him, D, as he hits that red carpet.
He will come home in second place here today at Ironman 70.3 Zell See-Kaprun, Gregor Payet.
Nick Thompson, huge smile on his face. Can't believe it. Under big load from that training. Nick Thompson with a third place finish here at Ironman 70.3 Zell See-Kaprun. And that's going to be pretty big for his Ironman Pro Series, right? He had second place at Cannes, not many seconds behind Matthew Marquardt, and absolutely unloaded the tank at the end, and at seemingly a big gap on Kevin McDowell. And Kevin McDowell loses another spot late. Hard to see Preister move in front of him. No, 2 spots. Kevin McDowell gets passed by Cameron Main in the last few meters. He is on fumes. Kevin McDowell is down. He is down. No doubt, Payet going over there to support his competitor who just came apart, gave it all out there.
Yeah, thank you. It was, of course, a great day. Such a nice atmosphere, such a nice course. But it was also a pretty tough day. I was so done at the top of the climb. I never thought I can finish this at the top spot.
Kat Matthews continuing her dominant performance here today. Took to the lead of the bike course pretty early on, was caught by this woman on screen, Lisa Percher, at the bottom of the descent. The two rode together into transition, a small gap built of about 10 seconds into T2, and Kat absolutely took off and has been well in control of this women's race ever since.
Yeah, what do you think, Daniela? We see Perger now just 144 down, so she hasn't lost too much time through 12 kilometers and still over 3 minutes in front of Loseth at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I think it looks like Lisa is she's moving the same speed than Solveig, so that means if they both run the same speed, logically Solveig is not going to catch her. And I think if Lisa can bring home a second place here in a still quite packed field, with especially against Solveig, that would be fantastic for her, and also give her a huge boost in that she's doing things right, that she's improving, and that always helps. I think Kat is a league of her own. She's still looking great. I think also she's still pushing, like also Fabian. I feel like he pushed hard till the end. I think it's just that racing spirit. You want to kind of test yourself. You want to see if you can hold the pace you wanted to achieve, and Kat will not hold back until she gets closer to the finish. And I think she also looks like she has no problems, like her legs, everything looks very smooth. And so for her, it's about just trying to push that pace. And
back to Solveig Løvseth in third place. Don't have a split on her yet through that 16.5 kilometer mark, but she's running well. We can see she's opened her stride up, and again, she's having a great race. It's just the two athletes in front of her are just on a different level today. And there was particular section of the course, just that climb is where she lost a lot of time, and obviously put a little bit more fatigue into her legs with, as we saw, kind of that over gearing setup as she was climbing. But Solveig still having a great race out here, running in third place.
This is going to be an opportunity for Kat to know that she's in a good place. It's an opportunity for all of our athletes headed to World Championship. Hey, maybe I need to freshen up a little bit more, or maybe I need to reconsider this, that, or the other thing. It's a learning experience. So there's no, I don't want to say failure is a strong word, because she's, in third place, major race, but there's no failure in it if you learn and take away from it and are able to redirect your efforts over the course of the next 6 weeks. That's right. Kat had an outstanding swim this morning. She was at the back end of the lead pack of swimmers, led out onto the bike and took the lead in the early going. She had a little bit of a scare from Lisa Percher on the bike at the bottom of the descent, but got out onto the run and showed that she was the one in charge. She will be your 2025 Ironman 70.3 Zell MC champion, Kat Matthews.
Lisa Percher, who did pull out the good legs out of the drawer this morning.
Yep, the hometown girl from Austria is going to come home in second place here in Zell MC. Lisa Percher.
And coming across the finish line in third place. Gutsy race from her today. Third place finisher at Ironman 70.3 Zell MC Kaprun is Solveig Løvseth.
To be honest, one of my sort of goals, which I failed again today at, was just don't look back. And I kept looking back, and I kept thinking about other people, and it was like, no, this is a, for me, it was just like a total race just for myself. So I always feel happy on the run.
Let's take a look at our results on the day as we see that coveted finisher medal for the race here in our men's race. Fabian Kraft, Gregor Payet, Nick Thompson, Lasse Prester, Cameron Main, Kevin McDowell fell to 6th. Chris Leiferman worked his way into 7th. Justice Topper in 9th. Jonas Hoffman in 10th. And Jonathan Waffey in 11th.
There you go. We can see the points implications there on the right. And then on the women's side with 2,500 points, Kat Matthews with Lisa Percher in 2nd. Solveig Løvseth in 3rd. Laura Jansen in 4th. Nina Durham, strong race today in 5th place. Daisy Davies in 6th. Charlene Clavel in 7th. Aline Devisson in 8th. Marta Legolik in 9th. And Beck Clark holding on to 10th place. But Didi, amazing racing from both our men's and women's field. And again, implications into our Ironman Pro Series. Nothing really changed in the men's. Actually, the 10th place, Dominic Soleja moved up into 10th. Again, that's 5 races scored for him compared to 4 from some of the other athletes. So not too much change on the men's side, but the women's side, a little different.
Women's side, Kat Matthews moves into 1st place with Solveig Løvseth into 2nd. Lisa Percher moves into 3rd place, and Laura Jansen moves into 3 spots up into the top 10, sitting now in 8th place, as the women will now focus on the Ironman World Championship in October.
Stay tuned to Ironman's social media channels and YouTube to catch all the exciting pre-race buildup. Until then, I'm Matt Lieto for Didi Griesbauer and Daniela Reef. Thanks so much for tuning in.
This copyrighted broadcast of World Triathlon Corporation may not be retransmitted, reproduced, rebroadcast, or otherwise distributed or used in any form without express written consent of World Triathlon Corporation.